Another day, another video. Today, I saw on YouTube, and this channel, everyone's saying it copied Zacty Films animations, but in stories. Well, that's actually true, but how is he growing this fast? Like how? And this guy is called His Story. His Story, everybody's saying that all of the reactors should react to this dude, because this channel is literally like the most fastest growing channel on YouTube. Last time I checked it was literally at 4 million. Now it's at 5.24 million in literally a month. How? And he has 1.1 thousand. Huh? 1.1 thousand to 1.2k. He's still uploading then. He's still uploading. What? When was this?
Every day my girlfriend.
An hour ago. Like, this dude literally uploads every hour. How old is this channel? Oh my goodness. Uploaded every single day. From 2022. But this channel was not growing as well. It only started growing in 3 months. In 3 months it was at 500k. And now after like 4 months, it is literally at 5 million subscribers and has 7 billion views. How is he doing this? And 1.2 thousand videos. How? Well, let's just stop yapping and I'm gonna watch the first one. Let's look at popular. First, let's look at the most popular one.
My twin brother Chris and I were 9 when we learned Morse code. We tapped messages under the dinner table when Mom told us to stop talking and tapped
What? Why are they learning Morse code? Huh?
the wall between our bedrooms every night. When Chris got into a car accident and the doctor said he'd never wake up, I pulled up a chair next to his bed, took his hand, and tapped. Are you there? Nothing. But I came back
No, that's so sad, dude. This is actually a sad story.
next afternoon and tapped again. Before I left, I always said the same thing. See you tomorrow, Chris. A week
Aww, that's so wholesome.
later, Chris's
A
fingers
week later, Chris's
twitched against mine, and I almost fell out
He's alive.
of my chair. I grabbed a nurse, and she barely looked up. They're reflexes. It doesn't mean
How are their reflexes? If a person is dead, they cannot move. They're literally dead. Nurse?
anything. I bought a notebook the next day and started writing down every single one. 4 months in, Mom watched me scribbling and said, "How long are you going to keep doing this? Until he taps back. He's not going to tap back. You're talking to a corpse."
W his story. But L mom, dude. L mom.
Dad lasted a few more months before he pulled me into the hallway. We need to talk about donating your brother's organs.
What? What? Donating his brother's organs? Okay, he needs to fix this now. He needs to tap back now.
Fingers move every time I hold his hand, Dad. The nurses said those are reflexes. Stop getting your hopes up, son. I don't care what the nurses say. You're not donating my brother's organs. But a week later, my parents called to have Chris transferred to a long-term facility to...
What? Okay, Chris's parents are so bad. They are such a bad parents. They are not even parents. I don't even believe they are parents.
and scheduled a meeting to sign the papers. The afternoon before the meeting, I tapped into his palm like always, but this time, something tapped back. Short, short, short. Long, long, long. Short, short, short. S-O-S. I grabbed...
What? His brother responded. Chris responded. Yay! Oh my gosh, it's Chris. Chris responded, dude. Chris responded.
His hand. Chris, if that's you, squeeze once. He squeezed so hard my knuckles cracked.
What? He's alive. He's alive, dude. I told you all he's alive. I told you all.
Into the meeting room and told them my brother just responded to me. The caseworker said, this is very common with families who aren't ready to let go. My parents nodded. I grabbed the
Why is he doing that? Well, not this dude, that dude.
papers off the table. You're not signing anything until
Nah.
you come see for yourself. I walked them to Chris's bed and grabbed his hand. Ask him anything. The caseworker asked what year it was. Chris squeezed out the answer. Count to 5. 5 perfect squeezes. His mother's name, tapped out letter by letter. By the 10th question, she said, he's still alive. We can't move him. Weeks later.
What? He is still alive, but we can't move him, dude. He's like unconscious, but still thinking in the mind.
I asked Chris what kept him fighting when everyone gave up. Heard mom call me a corpse. Heard dad say donate my organs. Heard all of them leave, except you. I asked why. I wanted to see you too. My twin brother Chris.
Nah, that was sick. This shot also has 1.9 million likes. Wait a second. Do I see a part 2 at the bottom? Should have he tapped back. I tapped back. Part 2. I shall watch this. This is actually addicting, guys.
The second my mom pulled up to my school, I saw she was mad. And as soon as I opened the car door, she held up my report card. Are you kidding me? Not a single A on here. I tried to tell her I was sorry. I tried my best. She threw it at me. Maybe if you didn't stay up all night tapping that dumb secret code on your brother's wall, you'd actually...
That is not dumb, by the way. That literally revived a corpse. That is not dumb code.
Be able to focus. I felt my heart beating. I pulled out my phone to text my brother. Mom's really mad. I think she might, but she grabbed it from my hand. Always on this stupid phone too. I could see her face turning red. But when I looked forward, Mom, watch out. She saw the car too and screamed. It smashed right into us. Glass was everywhere and I hit my head. I didn't know where I was. I tried to...
Oh, that's how he went unconscious. Oh my god, this is the behind the scenes.
My eyes, but nothing was moving. Then I heard someone. Listen, kid, he's never gonna wake up. No, please, he has to. It was my brother. I tried moving my hands, screaming. Nothing worked. But then, someone tapped my hand. I instantly recognized it. Chris, are you there? I squeezed my hand as hard as I could, but it didn't move. But he stood up. See you tomorrow, Chris. I felt a tear roll down my cheek. Someone else came in. We should just pull the plug. I'm not paying for a vegetable. We'll get more...
Nah, this is the behind the scenes. This is behind the scenes.
Money from donating anyways. It was my mom. She was talking about selling me, but I was still here.
What? She was thinking about selling Chris? What?
Jay came back, tapping about his day. I knew I had to warn him. I squeezed my arm. It felt like concrete. Please, anything. They'll kill me. Then it twitched. He gasped. He ran out to grab them. That's just a reflex. No, it's him. You're talking to a corpse. That night, I heard my mom. He's gone. We need to pull the plug. I tried to move. Then, my shoulder twitched. My dad screamed. He moved. They were silent. If he wakes up, we get nothing. We need to get that paperwork signed. They ran out, and I knew I didn't have long. I felt someone tap my hand again. Chris, please wake up. They're gonna kill you. I squeezed. I needed a miracle. Then, my fingers moved. I said the first thing I thought of. SOS. Chris, I knew it. He instantly ran out of the room. Guys, he's awake. He's awake. They rushed in. I squeezed their hands. They saw it all. I heard my mom. He's still alive. We can't move him. But I knew what she said. That night, I tapped it all out to my brother as he wrote it down. He couldn't believe it. Then, when I finally opened my eyes, they gasped. My mom hugged me. Honey, you're alive. But I didn't hug her back. The doors opened behind them. And when the cops walked in, my parents looked nervous. What's going on? Can we help you? They were pissed. They slammed them both in handcuffs. And when they looked, Jake was holding up everything I said. I could barely move my arm, but used all my strength to raise my hand. Then my middle finger. The second my mom pulled up to my school...
Nah, part 1 was like his story's POV, but then part 2 was his story's brother Chris POV. Nah, it's like 2 POVs. That's crazy, guys. This channel is actually addicting.
My twin...
Let me choose another channel. You know what? I'm gonna subscribe to him. And all notifications on. Let's use this.
Every day, my girlfriend would lay out her surgical toolkit of pliers, tweezers,
What? What even is this?
and scalpels, then climb onto my head and start popping my pimples. Isn't that so satisfying? She'd shove the giant
How to not pop a pimple? The title is.
ball of white puss towards me with a smile. It felt like being stabbed, but I loved her, so I let her. But then one day she pressed her thumb into the giant birthmark on the side of my head. I'm gonna pop it. She climbed on me with a set of tweezers, but I instantly shot back. That's a birthmark. You can't pop it. But she reached for it. Come on, it'll be fine. I gently pushed her back. I said no, this is too dangerous to pop. Her face dropped and her lip quivered. Fine, but can I at least pop the others? I said sure, and sat down. She squealed with this devious grin, and I chuckled as she climbed on my head, and for 5 minutes everything was normal. But then I felt a sharp pain on my birthmark. Stacy, stop. I pulled away, but the pain on my birthmark somehow got worse. That's when I realized Stacy was clamping down on my birthmark with tweezers, squeezing so hard her knuckles were turning white. It's almost out, just a bit more. She smiled and squeezed harder. The pain shot through me, and I grabbed her hand to get her to let go, but her face turned red. I said it's gonna be fine. She clamped the tweezers as hard as she could, and suddenly I heard a ripping sound. The birthmark fell off my head, and blood started pouring from my temple as it felt like I'd just been stabbed there. Stacy looked at the bloody birthmark that was now the couch, and her hands flew to her mouth. Oh my God, why didn't you tell me this would happen? You know I'm squeamish. Her eyes rolled back and she fainted, crashing on the floor. I shook her, but she was fully out. I covered the gushing hole in my head, then dialed 911, explaining to them my girlfriend just tore a birthmark off my head thinking it was a pimple. Every day my girlfriend would lay out her surgical tool.
Oh. Wow. Next one.
I was driving my dog home from the vet after getting his big B's chopped off, and I told him, it was for your own good, buddy. But when I checked the rearview mirror, his eyes were locked on mine, and he was growling with drool all over his teeth. My hands went white on the steering wheel, because he knew exactly what I took from him, and it was just me and him at home tonight. At home, I tossed him his favorite treat to make peace, but he let it bounce off the floor without breaking eye contact. So I put my palms out and used my calm voice. Easy, boy. Let's talk about this. Surely you can live without your big B's. But then he shook his head, and the cone fell right off, clattering on the tile below. My legs started trembling because there was nothing stopping him anymore. So I grabbed a couch cushion and held it over my waist like a shield. Please spare my life. I'll get it back. But that's when he started barking and ran straight towards me. Before I could say another word, his teeth clamped down hard right between my legs, and an
Hey, yo! Why did that happen? Why is his story sauce? Why did his story make the dog bite his balls? Why? It is so unnecessary to do.
inhuman scream came out of my mouth. An hour later, I was laid out on the same vet's table, and my dog sat in the corner with a smile watching the vet strap his cone around my neck. He patted my arm and said, "It's for your own good, buddy." I was driving my dog
Nah.
home from the vet after getting his...
So what's this one?
While walking to class, the girl I liked bumped into me.
Why is the title My Crush Noticed Me? His story has a crush in school. Hey you.
My face turned red, and I went to say sorry, but she quickly pressed a piece of paper into my hand. "Here, you drop this." I nervously told her I didn't drop anything, but she just nodded and swore I did. I opened the note to see if it was maybe my math homework. "You're really cute. Will you go out with me?" I looked up and saw her cheeks going red. "I'm sorry, but this definitely isn't my note." I pressed it back into her hand and walked away shaking with excitement because I just got to touch her hand. While walking to class,
What? He's that obsessed with his crush? Nah, dude. This dude's so...
I slammed my fist on my birthday cake and rolled my...
His family forgot about his birthday?
wheelchair out of the house. I needed a breath of fresh air because I couldn't believe my family hadn't shown up to my birthday. But that's when I felt a pair of hands grab the back of my wheelchair and start pushing me down the empty sidewalk, away from home. I tried to look back to see who it was, but the man was wearing a hoodie that covered his face. I tried reaching back and waved my hands. "What are you doing? Let me go." The man didn't respond and just continued to roll my wheelchair. My eyes started to fill with tears because I was sure I was being kidnapped on my birthday. A man I had never seen had taken full control of my wheelchair, and there was nothing I could do. He was leading me directly towards an empty building, but I wasn't going to just let him kidnap me without fighting back. I began breathing faster, looking left and right, trying to figure out what I could do to get out. And that's when I remembered I had a phone. I pulled it out of my pocket as fast as I could, but at that exact moment, the wheelchair hit a bump and the phone flew out of my hands. I was desperate to survive, so I grabbed the wheels with my bare hands. "Please just tell me what you want. My family doesn't have a lot of money." But he stayed completely silent and only pushed harder. My heart was hammering and my hands were shaking on the wheels as he pushed me into the building. He kicked the metal door open into total blackness, and I was sure I was about to
No, bro's about to get kidnapped on his birthday.
vanish into it and never come back. The door banged shut behind us, and the lights slammed on all at once. A room packed with everyone I loved leaped up screaming happy birthday.
Oh! That's actually a cool birthday. I appreciate that. That's actually so cool.
My mom right in front holding a cake glowing with candles. It turned out that every minute I had spent thinking I was being kidnapped, my family had been planning to surprise me with a huge party. The man let go of my handles, pulled down his hoodie, and it was my uncle. "Happy birthday, kid. Sorry about the scenic route." My heart started pounding harder and harder, so I clutched my chest with both hands. Then everything started going dark. I fell out of my wheelchair and slammed my face right into the birthday cake. In the distance, I could hear my mom go, "Oh no, he's having a heart attack." I slammed my fist on my birthday cake and
Bro forgot his phone and his... Bro literally got a heart attack. And you know, I talked about that from copying this comment. Bro forgot his phone.
I held up my cardboard sign on the corner for the
Why does he look so ugly on this video?
50th morning straight. I just immigrated from Somalia to USA. Please.
What? Immigrated from Somalia to USA? Why did he use the word immigrated? Immigrated is for like animals moving.
Let me find a job. And a construction boss leaned out of his truck. "I pay cash, but if you complain even once, you're fired." I needed the money, so I climbed in not knowing what to expect. When
Nah. I think that construction worker looks sus. I think he's a bad person.
we got to the construction site, he gave me double the weight of what everyone else was carrying.
What? Why? Actually, why?
Heavy stuff goes to the big man. I put my head down and stayed silent because I knew I didn't have any other option. At lunch, he pointed at everyone's trash on the ground. "Trash boy, clean it up." I clenched my fists and waited for payday to come. But at the end of the week, he put one crumpled $10 bill in my hand. I held it up. "Where's the rest? You owe me $800. He smiled in my face. "And what are you going to do about it?" He leaned in so close I could smell his breath.
The construction worker's breath is probably gross. Yeah.
Nobody cares about you. Nobody's going to stand up for you. You're just an immigrant that nobody wants to be around. I walked back to my street corner wondering if America was ever going to want me, and a paper blew past. I caught it without thinking. Picking up trash all week had made my hands fast. It was a job flyer for a litter monitor, $18 an hour.
Bro's about to get a job. Hey! I don't even know who threw that paper.
I signed up the next day, and the lady at the park office immediately handed me my badge. "Welcome aboard, Abdi." I smiled for the first time since landing, because it was the first time anyone in that city had ever said my name. Then one afternoon, a truck pulled up, and my old boss stepped out. He finished his sandwich, stared right at me, and dropped the wrapper on my boots. "You missed one." I pulled out my ticket book and started writing. "You paid me $10 for a week. Littering in my park costs $250. He ripped the ticket in half and dropped the pieces too. "Who's gonna make me pay?" I grabbed his collar, folded his body like a pretzel, and threw him into the trash can with the torn ticket on top. "Who's getting you out of there?" "Nobody. So if you want me to help you out, you better not complain, or you're cooked, trash boy." I held up my...
Bro literally switched up the rules. And also, he got a badge. The title is The Trash Boy Got a Badge. Means in this video, his story is a trash boy. Ew, that's gross.
I was making the final payment on my stepdaughter's wedding venue when she walked in, holding the arm of a man I'd never seen before. Stepdad, meet my real dad. My head started spinning on the spot. Your real dad? You mean the guy who's been gone for 20 years? She smiled and squeezed his arm. Yeah, and you're not invited to the wedding anymore now that he's here. My face went red, and my card slipped out of my hand because I'd raised her since she was 7, and now I wasn't invited to her wedding. The man stepped forward and held out his hand. Appreciate the help, buddy, but I've got it covered from now. I ignored his hand and asked my stepdaughter who was walking her down the aisle, but he answered for her. That'd be me. My chest went cold, so I reminded her who paid for every chair in the room. She rolled her eyes. So what? I never asked you to do that. My fists were trembling with rage, so I stepped towards him and asked where he'd been all this time. But he threw his hands up and stumbled back like I'd swung at him, and my jaw dropped. My stepdaughter stepped between us. Stop! You're hurting my real dad. So I put my hands down and made my voice small. He can walk you down the aisle. Just give me a seat at the wedding so I can watch you get married. But she shook her head with a frown. No, I want my real dad to be happy. You're not invited. That's when my wife walked in and hooked her arm through his while my face got redder and redder. She looked at him and smiled. Is he still fighting us? Gosh, he's so embarrassing. He laughed and stepped forward to squeeze my shoulder. Thanks for keeping her warm till I could get back, buddy. That's when my eyes turned gray and I turned to look at the wedding planner. Cancel everything. I'm not paying for this venue. My stepdaughter's face went red and she grabbed my sleeve. Wait, stop. But I was already grabbing my phone and calling every single vendor. The hall came apart right in front of us. Linens rolled off in armfuls. Lights went out row by row, and chairs rolled out the doors while my stepdaughter, my wife, and their new favorite man stood with their mouths open. I put the phone back in my pocket, told my stepdaughter, your real dad's got it covered from now. Then I walked out. They spammed my phone with calls the next morning, but I put it on Do Not Disturb and went back to relaxing on my yacht. I was making the final payment on my
Bro got a yacht.
stepdaughter's wedding venue.
Next short.
Dustin called me scared of...
What the heck is this? I invented the flying shrimp. What is the flying shrimp?
deep end in front of half the pool, so I lied and told him I wasn't scared. I just didn't do regular dives anymore. He asked what I did do. My mouth said, the flying shrimp, before my brain could stop it. Dustin crossed his arms. Never heard of it. It's advanced, I said. They don't allow it at public pools. He walked over to the rule board and read every line out loud. No running, no glass, no horseplay. He turned around. Nothing about shrimp. Dustin looked at the crowd and said, guess he doesn't know how to do it. If I didn't jump, every kid at the pool would know he was right. I grabbed my cousin's full-face swim goggles and snorkel from his bag by the snack bar, pulled them over my face, and tried to tighten it. But Dustin yelled, let's go, shrimp, before I could figure out how to tighten the strap. If I was going to die on this diving board, I was at least going to look official. Half the pool followed me to the high dive. Dustin climbed up right behind me, close enough that I could hear him laughing through his nose. He cupped his hands around his mouth. Flying shrimp. The chant started right away from the pool below. Shrimp, shrimp, shrimp. I walked to the end of the board,
Bro made a chant of shrimp, shrimp, and flying shrimp.
the giant mask and looked down through foggy plastic. The lifeguard blew her whistle. Jump or climb down. Climb down sounded perfect. I turned around, took one careful step toward the ladder, and the loose snorkel swung into my mouth. I spit it out, stepped wrong, and my wet heel slid off the edge. My heel went out from under me, and I grabbed for the rail but caught Dustin's ankle instead. He went tumbling off the platform right behind me. The snorkel spun away like a tiny helicopter. I hit the water sideways, knees up, arms wrapped around my legs, curled into the exact shape of a shrimp half a second before Dustin landed beside me. We both came up at the same time, me coughing with water shooting out of my nose, Dustin sputtering with my full-face goggles crooked across his eyes, the nose cover mashed sideways into his cheek. The chant flipped. Dustin got shrimped! Dustin got shrimped! The lifeguard walked to the rule board, picked up the chalk, and wrote one new line under no horseplay, no flying shrimp. I pulled the snorkel back into my mouth and said, that's why it's advanced. Dustin called me...
Bro literally invented the flying shrimp move in swimming. Why? Who even got these ideas anyways? Who even got these ideas? Like, what?
Scared of the deep end in front of half... I was exiting the plane with Derek when a wall of cops stopped us and pointed. "Whose suitcase is this?" Derek was holding both of our suitcases, and I stuttered. That one's mine, officer." But before I could ask why, he shoved me against the plane and snapped cold handcuffs around my wrists. "You're coming with us." Derek, my best friend of 2 years, screamed, "Officer, what did he do?" But they ignored him and hauled us both into a cold, windowless interrogation room, my heart pounding because I had no idea why this was happening. 2 officers dumped my suitcase onto the table, and out fell a small baggie of white powder. I gasped because I had no idea what it was or how it got there. A cop shoved it in my face. "Fentanyl, enough to kill 1,000 people. This alone is life in prison." My knees buckled. Someone had set me up. "That's not mine. I have a clean record." Derek jumped in. "We always go on trips together. He'd never do this. He's my best friend." Then a detective leaned in. "We've been tracking a family smuggling ring for months, and everything led to you." My mind raced because the only person I'd been with was Derek. I turned to look at him, and that's when I saw his hand shaking as he shoved something deeper into his pocket, the outline of a small baggie. My whole body went cold. Did he put it in my suitcase? Derek caught me staring and calmly turned to the officers. "I don't know what's gotten into him, but drug smugglers deserve to rot in jail." The cops nodded, grabbed me, and dragged me toward the door. My own best friend had framed me. I had no idea why, but I wasn't about to rot in jail for it, so I screamed, "Check his pocket! Check Derek's pocket!" The officers stopped and turned to Derek, and his face went white. "This is ridiculous. Put him in a cell." But they noticed him panicking, so they patted him down, and out came the same baggie of white powder that was in my bag. The room went dead silent, and Derek went to run, but the cops tackled him. His face went cold and empty. A detective cuffed him and turned to me. "His family's been running this ring for years. They needed someone with a clean record to go down for it, so they used you." He smirked at me. "You carried for me every single trip. You just never noticed. I was never his best friend. I was his get-out-of-jail-free card. I was exiting the plane with..."
Nah. He had a fake friend. That's L, dude. L Derek.
Derek. I turned on my Xbox and grabbed my controller, ready to game all night, but then a window smashed behind me. I turned
A robber came.
and saw a masked man with a neck tattoo climbing in, and my whole body instantly froze. "Mom!" My throat closed up from fear mid-scream, and when Mom rushed in, she went pale and threw her hands up. "Sir, take anything you want. Please don't hurt us." The masked man stared at her for a moment, then looked
Wait a
around.
second. Why does that girl look like History's girlfriend from school? Huh? This doesn't make sense.
The room, and his eyes settled on me. My heart pounded as he walked towards me with a grin. The pistol on his hip flashed, and I remember freezing in fear, thinking he was going to kidnap me. I mouthed at Mom, hit him with the lamp because his back was turned to her, but she was too scared to move. The man reached me, and his hand shot out. I closed my eyes, bracing for contact, but he reached past me and started shoving my Xbox into his bag.
No, the Xbox. RIP Xbox.
stomach curled because that was my favorite thing in the world. I'd fought with Mom every day for weeks to convince her not to sell it, and he was taking it. I grabbed the man's arm. "Please, no, sir. Take anything else." But Mom crossed the room and snatched my hand away. "I'm sorry, sir." Her voice shook. "Take what you want. Don't listen to my son." She glared at me. "Our safety is more important than your Xbox." She backed away, gripping my arm, and I watched the man grin and climb out through the broken window with my Xbox. I dropped to my knees, crying and still hyperventilating. I thought I was going to die and my Xbox was robbed. But that night, I woke up from a nightmare about what happened when I heard Mom's voice outside. "Thank you so much." I didn't know how else to take that Xbox from him. I looked out, watched as Mom gave $100 to a man with the same neck tattoo from earlier. I realized she'd traumatized me with a fake robbery just to steal my Xbox from me so I couldn't game anymore. At least she doesn't know about the Nintendo Switch hidden under my bed.
Nah. The title is Mom told him to rob us? What? That's just too far. It's too far, dude. Cause Mom cannot break her own house's windows. What? This cannot be true.
I was almost asleep in row 2 when every screen on the plane changed to a single black screen with white text. "You are asleep. We are sorry for what is going to happen." Oh.
What? Sleep? How? The title is Our Plane Got Hacked.
Woman a few rows back gasped so
I don't know if you all heard that door sound. It's my dad. Don't like that.
Loud that half the cabin turned around, and I heard someone whisper, "Wait, are we actually asleep right now?" My hands went cold, gripping my armrests. We were 30,000 feet up. There was nowhere to go.
They were 30,000 feet up, and there's no way to go. Guys, sorry the video just teleported to another frame. It's because literally my storage is out, so I had to delete some videos which were useless. So now we're back in recording. Now let's rewind.
I genuinely couldn't tell if this was real. Maybe I really was still half asleep, and I was about to wake up disoriented in my own seat with my neck cramped from the headrest. The guy across the aisle from me grabbed his own face. "This isn't real. This isn't real." A little girl started crying. "Mommy, are we going to die in our sleep?" Her mom couldn't.
What? The kid literally said, "Mom, are we going to die in our sleep?" What?
Answer her, just kept saying shh shh while staring at her own screen like it might change again any second. A man near the exit row shot out of his seat, yanking at the door handle like he could actually open.
Why would he do that? Why would he do that? You know, there's actually one shot in Zacti films where if you're moving very fastly and you put a drone up, you know what, I'll just show you guys. Zack D Films shorts. And it's this one.
If you toss a baseball up in a car going 100 miles an hour, why doesn't it fly back into your chest at 100 miles an hour? And if you activate a drone inside the car, it appears stationary to you, but is it actually moving 100 miles an hour? And if so, why doesn't it need to thrust forward with its propellers? Well, it's because the ball, the drone, and even the air inside are already moving with the car. So when it goes up, it keeps that motion with no headwind to push it back. This also means if you removed the windshield, well, it would be a whole different story. If you toss a baseball up in
Yeah, it would be a whole different story. So that's how that works. So why would he possibly do that? Why would that old man possibly do that? Why? Which one is it?
I was exiting the plane with. I turned on my I was almost asleep in row 2 when every screen on the like it might change again any second. A man near the exit row shot out of his seat, yanking at the door handle like he could actually open it mid-flight. "Something's wrong. Let me out." A flight attendant grabbed his arm. "Sir, sit down. That door won't open up here." I watched her other hand shake as she reached for the intercom, and my stomach dropped because I could tell she was about to say something to the whole plane that would make everyone panic. My legs wouldn't move. Every part of me wanted to just.
Is she like pranking everyone? Is that flight attendant pranking everyone?
They buckled in and let someone else handle it, because what if I was wrong? What if I said something and made it worse instead of better? But I unbuckled anyway, my hands shaking as.
Why would he unbuckle? Why?
Bad as hers, and ran up to her. "Wait, look at every screen first. What if someone hacked the entertainment system? I don't think we're asleep. Someone's just messing with us." She took a deep breath and nodded, holding the phone against her chest instead of lifting it to her mouth. Then the captain's voice came through the speakers. "Folks, we've confirmed a security breach in the entertainment system only. Every other system on this aircraft is working perfectly. We're sorry for the scare." The man at the door let go of the handle and sank into his seat, his whole body shaking. When we landed, the pilot walked back through the cabin and stopped at my row. "My flight attendant told me you helped keep things calm back here." He shook my hand. "Thank you. I still don't know if I would have done the same thing on a different day, but that day, I did. I was almost asleep in row 2 when every screen.
Nah. very. Their plane was hacked. Next one.
The robot I built to do my chores
Why does he have a. Why does he have a cleaner robot? Why? I think his story is lazy. His story is lazy, dude. He's lazy.
went rogue and was stalking me through my own house. It was programmed to eliminate everything dirty it found. I didn't realize that I hadn't taken a shower that day, and I was filthy from assembling all the parts. Now that mistake could cost me my life. The minute it came online, I became its prime target. There was nowhere to hide. The robot had my scent and was closing in slowly. I was cornered with no escape route. It raised its left.
A robot which is a cleaning robot is bad. Cause what if you did not shower and had dirt all over you? It would literally eliminate you, like in the video.
Arm. At the end was a brush with steel bristles. Eliminate mess by any means necessary. The steel brush began spinning with enough force to strip the skin from my bones. As the robot moved toward me, it knocked my grandmother's urn off a shelf. It shattered and her ashes went everywhere.
Why does he have that, which is literally made of grandma's ashes? Why does he have something made of grandma's ashes? Why? That's so unnecessary.
The robot immediately shifted focus. New target acquired. It used its other arm to vacuum the ashes. I took my opportunity and ran past it. Sorry, Grandma, but thanks for buying me some time.
At least he thanked Grandma. Look at the comment. Thanks for buying me some time, Grandma. And the real history replied on this dude's comment and said W Grandma. W Grandma, dude.
Ran through the house. I knocked over every plant, plate, and vase I passed, making more
Nah, that's like a distraction for the robot.
mess to distract the robot. I was great at robotics, so the machine made quick work of it. I ran up to the bathroom and hid in the shower, but it wasn't long before it found me. I looked around, nothing to grab but the handle to turn the shower on. I was cooked. Then an idea struck me like lightning. I threw the shower on. Cold water ran down my body, washing the dirt away with it. The robot
Yay!
stopped in its tracks. Target lost. It
Target lost. Okay.
turned around in search of more mess, exposing the off switch
What is that? Oh, I think that's the robot off and on switch.
on its back. I jumped out of the shower and threw the switch. The robot collapsed. I looked around my house. There was still a lot to clean up now, but after all of that, I was happy to do it myself. The robot I built to do
After all of that, he's happy to do it himself. How is he happy to do it himself? What? He needs to remove that robot. He is too lazy. This is what happens when you become too lazy.
I opened the door to my mom's friends, and they instantly ran upstairs into my room. I followed them confused and saw them opening my clothes drawers, inspecting dust on my windowsill, and grabbing candy bar wrappers off my desk, yelling, "Why isn't this cleaned?" At least that's how Mom made it seem it would be when she had me deep clean my room 2 hours ago, spraying antibacterial fluid in corners I'd never even touched. But when Mom's friends came over, not a single one went to my room. They were too busy drinking wine and making an actual mess in the living room, while I took off my cleaning gloves, having just wasted hours to please people who never even cared. I opened the door to my mom's friends, and they
Why did Mom play him? Nah. Yeah. I'm gonna comment on his video. I'm gonna comment that. Hope he sees it.
instantly ran upstairs into my room. I followed them confused and saw them opening my clothes drawers, inspecting.
Already over.
I opened the door to my mom. Dylan got in my face and crossed his arms. "You can't be here. This is my cliff." I told
How can a cliff be his? Huh?
them this cliff was part of nature and
Yeah, the cliff is literally part of nature. How can he own the cliff?
didn't belong to anyone, then looked down at the 100-foot fall into the water. My legs shook, ready to do the cliff jump I'd been training for all summer. But then I felt Dylan shove me from behind. He knocked me off balance and I
Why did Dylan do that? Why does he think he owns the cliff?
started descending 100 feet. I screamed, unable to control the fall, and smashed into the water face first. I came up 10 seconds later, water pouring from my nose as my whole body hurt. Dylan hurled through the air seconds later and landed in the water, pointing at me and laughing. I told you this cliff was mine. At the hospital, doctors told me the impact had crushed my lungs, broken my jaw, my orbital bone, and both shins. I spent 6 months in the hospital getting surgeries and a hollow tube placed in my chest just so I could breathe again.
No, why did Dylan do that? He was literally sleeping in the hospital for 6 months.
Two brothers sat with me every day, swearing they'd get revenge on Dylan, but I stayed silent
W brothers.
the whole time because even talking hurt too much. When I finally came back to school on crutches, Dylan took them from me on my first day. "What's wrong, Cliff Boy? Can't handle a little shove." He shoved me in the back with the crutches just like before, and I immediately fell, my legs too weak to hold me up. I cried in pain as Dylan laughed, and at home told my brothers everything. The rest of the year, Dylan splashed me with water and hit my chest, knowing my lungs were weak, even threatening to push me again if I ever came to his cliff again. So I did. That summer, I walked up to the cliff, my heart pounding as I stepped with
Why did his story come to his cliff?
crutches. Dylan was preparing to jump from 110 feet, and when he saw me, his face lit up. Here to get pushed again, he walked towards me, but I threw my hands up. "I'm not here to jump. I just want to watch you do what you're so good at." He laughed as I stroked his ego. "That's right, I'm the best." He turned around, but right as he started running towards the cliff, I stuck my foot out. Dylan tripped and face planted in the dirt. I laughed at him, but then I saw him curling his fists, ready to get up and beat me to a pulp. That's when I whistled. My two older brothers instantly emerged from the bushes and picked Dylan up before he could react. He thrashed, but they were too strong. I walked up to him. "Now say sorry or we're throwing you down." He instantly started begging. I'm sorry, please let me go." But I just shook my head. "I don't think so, Cliff Boy." I snapped my fingers, and my brothers tossed Dylan over, sending him flying 100
His brothers are like his servants. Because when his stories snapped his fingers, they dropped him. Why?
10 feet down his own cliff. I watched him smash into the water uncontrollably just like I had done, and laughed to myself. We'll see how he likes having no lungs. Dylan got in my face and crossed his arms.
He'll also have no lungs now.
While on the train, the toddler sitting next to me started screaming and throwing his fists in the air, but his mom was glued to her phone and ignored him completely. Another passenger told her to control her kid, but she replied, "I know how to handle my own child," without even looking up from her phone. Her toddler punched the windows and cried louder, and that's when she leaned over and snatched my phone from my hands. She gave it to her kid and told me, "2 minutes, he's having a meltdown." The kid stopped screaming and instead started smearing his chocolate fingers all over my phone screen. The mom smiled at the passenger from earlier and smirked, saying, "See, told you I know how to control my child." But her child was jabbing my phone with his Cheeto dust fingers and trying to bend it in half while she just peacefully scrolled hers. I reached over and yanked my phone back from her kid, then moved further away from her. The toddler instantly screamed again and hit his seat repeatedly. She demanded I give him my phone back, but I just laughed. That's when her kid turned to her and reached for her phone instead. She tried to give him snacks and toys to distract him, but he threw them on the floor and hit her shoulder, screaming he wants her phone. Her face went red, and she reluctantly gave it over, and he immediately started smearing chocolate and Cheeto dust all over her screen and into her charging port. He was calm for about a minute, until the phone suddenly died. He threw it at the floor hard as he could, and it smashed.
What is wrong with the baby? I hate this baby. If I was that mom, I would abandon that baby in the middle of nowhere and I would never take it again. But that's obviously a joke.
To pieces. He screamed again and grabbed his mom's jacket, and I just put in my earbuds. The other passenger looked at her and said, "So, you sure you know how to control your child?" She stared at her broken phone and her child screaming around her and just started crying. While on the train, the toddler sitting next to me started screaming and throwing his fists in.
I guess he is a kid after all. I guess he is a small kid after all. He doesn't know anything.
I was jumping on my trampoline when the old man next door sprayed me in the face with his hose. I lost my balance and missed the trampoline completely when I came down. Mr. Crane, why would you do that? I could have been really hurt. Don't talk back to me, boy. I don't want to see you bouncing on that
You know
thing.
what? I'm gonna watch some older shorts.
A teenager tortured my dog for fun, then threatened to do it again. My dog had gone missing for a few hours, and when I finally found him, he was standing outside another house in my neighborhood. He was
The oldest short was 7th February. What? How about videos? Only 4 months ago. Means his channel's only like March, April, May, June, July, August. His channel's only 6 months old. How did he get this much in 6 months? How? You know, now let's go to the latest ones. Actually, latest ones already done. I'm gonna watch this.
After 8 years on death row, I was ready to die. They said I killed Rebecca. My fingerprints were on the knife. My blood was at the scene. I told them I didn't do it, but nobody believed me. I spent years fighting, filed every appeal,
This is not his story.
exposed every contradiction in the evidence. None of it mattered. My lawyers stopped returning my calls. My appeals were exhausted. My family stopped visiting 2 years ago. Even my own mother thought I did it. The only person who ever believed me was my grandmother, and she passed away 5 years ago. So when they asked what I wanted for my last meal, I thought of her. Her meatloaf, the one she made me every birthday. I wrote out her recipe from memory, every measurement and technique precise. An hour later, the prison chef showed up at my cell holding my form. What is this? Meatloaf. This is a novel, not a recipe. Ground beef 60%, ground pork 40, breadcrumbs soaked in whole milk for exactly 10 minutes. Yellow onion, not white, sautéed in butter until translucent. Fresh thyme, not dried. Worcestershire, 2 tablespoons, no substitutes. And this glaze with brown sugar and apple cider vinegar, brushed on at 340 degrees, 20 minutes before done. He looked at me through the bars. Why so specific? It's how my grandmother
Yeah, why is it so specific? It's how
made it. She's gone now.
his grandmother made it. She's gone now.
If I'm going to die Friday, I want to taste her cooking one last
Oh, okay.
time. He was quiet for a moment. Some of these ingredients we don't stock. Fresh thyme, whole milk, real butter. I'll have to special order them. I have 48 hours. He sighed. I'll make it exactly how you wrote it. Thursday morning, the ingredients arrived and the chef started cooking. I could smell it from my cell an hour later. Onions sauteing in butter. Grandma's kitchen. Saturday mornings, her humming while she cooked. I sat on my bunk and cried for the first time in 8 years. Thursday afternoon, the chef ran into problems. The oven temperature wouldn't hold steady. He had to recalibrate. Start over on the glaze twice. It has to be perfect, he told the warden. It's his last meal. Thursday night, I couldn't sleep. Not from fear, from the smell. The meatloaf baking through the night while I sat alone with memories of the only person who believed I was innocent. Friday, execution day. 10 a.m. and no meal yet. Noon, and the chef said the glaze wasn't right. 2 p.m., a guard brought regular prison lunch because the meatloaf still wasn't ready. 4 p.m., 2 hours left. The smell was overwhelming. Guards kept walking past the kitchen just to breathe it in. 5 p.m., the warden came to my cell. Your meal isn't ready. We're delaying the execution 2 hours. 6 p.m. came and went. The original execution time. I was still alive, waiting for meatloaf. 7:30, the chef finally appeared with a covered plate. He looked exhausted. He uncovered it, and the meatloaf looked exactly like my grandmother's. I ate slowly, savored every bite. Perfect. I finished the last bite at 7:51. 9 minutes left. The guard opened my cell. Time to go, Preston. They walked me down the hallway past other cells. Inmates were silent. They always were during execution walks. We reached the preparation room. The chaplain asked if I wanted to pray. I said no. 7:55, 5 minutes. They started walking me toward the chamber. That's when the warden's phone rang. He answered, and his face changed. Stop. Everyone stop moving. What's happening? Rebecca's ex-boyfriend just confessed to her murder. You're innocent. My legs gave out. A guard caught me. The chef appeared in the hallway out of
Huh? This doesn't make sense.
breath. He slid down the wall and sat next to me. If that meatloaf had been ready on time, you'd already be gone. I just sat there, still alive, because my grandmother's recipe was too complicated to rush. She saved my life. She always did.
Nah, grandma literally saved his life with just food. Nah, W grandma. W grandma. That's actually W grandma.
I handed my son a ball of garbage on his 9th birthday. I couldn't afford a football, but I spent all night making this for you. He started I handed my son a ball of garbage on his 9th birthday. I couldn't afford a football, but I spent all night making this for you. He started dribbling it around our poor African village. I love it, Baba. One day I'll be a famous footballer in the World Cup, and I'm going to be so rich I'll buy you whatever you want. I didn't know what to say because I didn't think that could ever come true. But a week later, a volunteer from a charity truck dropped off food and clothes, and he stopped to watch my son juggle that garbage ball 50 times without a drop. Where did he learn that? He asked. I told him he taught himself, and he laughed and yelled, if he keeps that up, I'll see him at the World Cup. My boy's whole face...
What? How can a small dude be at the FIFA World Cup? What?
Up with a smile. It's meant to be, Baba. I'm meant to be a football star. The volunteer climbed into the supply truck and came back out with real football shoes and a real football. For the next 2 years, he'd kick the football while every kid in the neighborhood watched and cheered. But everything changed when a football academy was running trials in the city. I sold our goat for 2 bus tickets there. My son lined up beside boys in clean kits, the garbage ball still in his bag, and I was sure they'd send him home. But they kept him. And for 5 years, all I heard from him were postcards, until one night my phone lit up in the dark and he could barely speak. Baba, I made the national team and we're going to the World Cup. And 3 weeks...
What? He made it to the national team? This is actually sick. This short is so addicting, dude.
later, I sat in a stadium of 80,000.
Sat in the stadium of 80,000. That is fictional because stadiums can only hold like 20,000 or 22,000 people.
Strangers, with the cracked badge of our village on my chest. The teams walked out under the lights, and I found my son in the line, the flag on his chest. Before the whistle, he jogged to the sideline and pulled a ball of garbage out of his kit bag. He dropped it onto his foot and juggled it, once, twice, in front of the whole world. The boy who promised to buy me whatever I wanted pressed that ball of garbage to his chest, pointed it up at me, and I came apart in a stadium full of strangers. I handed my son a ball of...
Aww, that's so wholesome. I'm actually crying right now. I'm actually crying. This is so wholesome. They made it to the international team. No, this is so wholesome, dude. Are you serious?
Couldn't afford a football. I climbed into my bed with a grin, feeling my jeans press against the duvet covers. My dad came over and leaned against my door. "I'm sorry I said no to you going to the party, son, but I know the kids there. It's too dangerous." He walked back to his room, and I instantly got up from the covers. I laced up my Jordans and climbed out my window the second I heard snoring. I walked...
Why did he climb out the window? And why did he sneak out the building? I don't know.
into that party and was immediately surrounded by college kids twice my size. I grabbed a red cup and filled it with juice to fit in.
You know
then
what?
pulled out my
Guys, this is the last sort because I think this video is an hour long, I think. So, this is the last one.
phone to take pictures so I could show everyone how cool I was. Then I heard yelling in the backyard. I walked over with loose legs to seem nonchalant and saw two people punching each other. I put my hands up and yelled, "Fight," like everyone else. But
Why are they punching each other?
then a gunshot rang out. Then another one. The music stopped and everyone
Huh? A gunshot? Are you serious? Oh my gosh.
started running. I got knocked to the floor, and dozens of feet instantly stampeded me, stepping on my head, my fingers, and my legs. My red cup spilled and ruined my Jordans as more gunshots echoed around me. I laid on the floor, afraid I was going to die, when I spotted a bathroom. I crawled into it and shut the door quietly as I could, but another gunshot sounded out just outside. I pulled out my phone with trembling hands. "Dad, I'm so sorry. I snuck out to the party. There's someone here shooting, and I'm hiding in a bathroom. Please help." I instantly heard him running and grabbing his car keys. "I'm coming right now." He hung up, and I pressed my knees to my chest, listening to the sound of reloading outside. Then headlights swung through
Why is he sitting on the toilet? This is not the time, his story.
the window. Dad was running barefoot into the house in his pajamas. I heard him scream my name, but then a gunshot cracked outside. Something dropped, and my whole body locked up. I went to scream, "Dad," but I caught myself, and suddenly, the handle started rattling. I curled up into a ball, arms over my head, thinking this was it. But then Dad opened the door. Blood dripped from the bullet wound in his arm, but he just pulled me to my feet. We walked past the attacker, who was now laying on the floor, and when we got in the car, he peeled out, driving one-handed in total silence. The bullets bullet stayed lodged in his injured arm. I looked at him, not saying a
Guys, somebody's calling me. Wait. Guys, it was my dad who called me. And yeah.
word and just broke. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. But he just kept his eyes on the road. It's okay, kid. You still called me, even when you knew I told you no. That means more to me than you could ever know. He pulled into my favorite diner. I'll always come get you, no matter what. I climbed into...
W, Dad, W. That is actually W, dude. W's. That is such... He is such a great dad. He is such a great dad. Hey, there's a comment which says, never bring a gun to a dad's fight. Nah. Bro's dad had bulletproof muscles. Yeah, speaking of that, how does he have bulletproof muscles? And yeah, it's gonna be it. And please like and subscribe to the channel right now for more reaction videos. And yeah, bye guys. I'll see you later in the next video. Bye.